Hey, and welcome back. Thanks for joining me once again. And if you are here, then that means you've probably seen episode 1 in this new series I started to help out my fellow creative people and give you all some free advice. If you don't know me, my name is Jasmine Baker. I do realistic pencil drawings of mostly people, sometimes pets, and that is a thing that I specialize in. I've been drawing for years, but I just recently learned how to make a profit from that and be more consistent. So today we're going to be talking about niches and why they're important to artists, especially if you want to grow your art online. Specifically those of us who are trying to turn our art into business. Some people can end up spending years trying to figure out how to do that, but it's always good to look for help. If you don't know where else to turn, always look online for help. There's so many free resources out there, and I think we should definitely take advantage of whatever free advice that we can get. Today I'm using one of my subscriber drawings. There was a time when I did them. I don't have that kind of time anymore. I wanted to do something a little different, so I had started to turn them into characters, and I think I was only drawing one a month because I didn't really have a lot of time for that. And then eventually I just kind of got out of doing it. But for this particular project, I turned this subscriber into Captain America. Also, just like last time, I'll include some input from Pete, since he gave me a pretty long description essay thing about why niches are important. So niches provide great advantages because, like we talked about before, it allows you as an artist to stand out. It makes you unique, and it really narrows down your competition. When you narrow down your field of work, it's really defined and it can be easier for people to view your work. By that, I mean viewing online. Whatever artwork you're posting online. Most of this video I'm going to be referring to your online presence as an artist because that is what I spend the most time on promoting my work. Since I haven't really been to work in person, I don't really talk to those people as much. So most of my customers have been online since last year. Last year, when I signed up for all of those free email lists that we were discussing in the first episode of this series, I was talking about how they did have some useful info just in the free email list that they give you, even though those people do sell online courses. They do give you some info like setting up an email list for yourself so that you can market to your own audience. And that is a list that nobody can take away, no matter what platform you're on. And another thing they were talking about is really making sure that your work is very unique, that it stands out. If you're looking for clothing, for example, you're not going to go to Home Depot, you're going to go to a store that sells clothing. And if you want a specific style of clothing, like vintage, for example, you're going to probably go to a store that sells exclusively vintage clothing. Or at least includes that. That store is only looking to market to people like you, people that like those types of clothes. So you can think of it that way. If you're an art collector or just an enthusiast and you want to look for outer space themed work, you're going to look specifically for somebody who does that type of artwork. You're likely not going to go to an artist that only specializes in drawing cars. The more specific you are, the better. So upon learning that, I decided to make sure that my work fell under one category last year, with the exception of the occasional throwback artwork that I do, just looking back at old pieces that I did and how I've progressed since then. But all of my work falls under a certain appearance, so you can get a whole feel for the type of work that I do. Now, once in a blue moon, I will draw something a little bit different. I'll try and branch out a little bit, but depending on like my mood or whatever, I do draw other things. I just don't post everything that I draw online. I am really selective of what I display on my portfolio. I call that my portfolio because that's what people look at when they make a decision on whether or not they want to hire me to do a drawing. What I want you to take away from this video is a little bit of homework. You don't even have to have a pen or paper to do that. Just you can make a mental list. If you are struggling getting business right now and you're really serious about becoming a full-time artist or like a part-time artist, maybe you have another job like me, Do a review of your own profile and examine some other people's accounts that you follow that you really like. So what attracts you to that person's work? That's something to keep in mind. Do your little mental notes, your mental checklist of what you like, and look closely at them and see if their account has a theme or an aesthetic, as Instagram people so frequently use. But I know it's overdone all the time, but that is why certain people and their accounts have like a certain following. That's why they have like either a large following, or they might get more engagement under their posts because they all fall under like a theme. It sounds really odd, but it is like advertising. How do you want your work to be displayed? How do you want to advertise yourself as an artist that is looking for clients? Ads are usually very to the point and organized, and they're usually very neat and polished looking. So how is that person advertising their work? That's your homework, is to look at other people's artwork and see like how they're advertising it. People can connect with you more when you put effort into making your work look as great as it can. It becomes more appealing to the eye, and your captions should fall under your niche in some way. You could tell a story, you could give a little tiny piece of art advice in each thing that you upload, you could ask questions. Those are always a big engagement promoter, whatever you want to call it. Those always increase engagement when you ask people questions. You could ask them what their favorite movie is, what their favorite music is. You could tell, like I said, you could also tell a short story if you feel like typing that much, or you could even just write something you learned in that piece. I used to do that a lot when I made lots of mistakes or things happened during drawings. I would say, what happened wrong? What can I do next time? What did I learn from that whole experience? I follow quite a few artists online. I do find myself attracted to certain types of work. I follow people that draw only bands. I follow people that draw only flowers or only pet portraits. Still others that I follow draw different things, but they have a particular style. And then still others just use the same medium over and over again and create different things with it. Those all fall under a niche because they carry some type of consistency. I can use an example like one artist I follow online named Craig Deakes. He did give me permission to share his pictures, so I'm just going to put some here on the screen as I'm talking about what he does. I'm just using him as an example. You obviously don't have to follow this specific type of drawing, but you'll get the point of what I'm saying. When it comes to posting things online, it's more favorable for people to look at. It's easier for them to view your content when it's more organized and it carries a theme. Now, he does wonderful mixed media work, but his theme uses a lot of vibrant colors and some extremely black values for shadows. He uses airbrush for the background of most of his drawings, most of the recent ones he's done in the last couple of years, I think. And he does like gradient backgrounds or solid color, and it really makes the main character pop out of the drawing. So every time he uploads a picture, I automatically know it's him. I don't even have to look at the name because I already know. I've been a fan of his work for some years now, probably 5 years, maybe a little bit more. Many of his subjects are TV and movie characters like Marty McFly. He does a lot of Avengers drawings, DC heroes, things like that. And like I said earlier, his airbrush background is super smooth. It provides a great backdrop for the main subject. Outside of that, he has really high quality pictures. So that's one of the other reasons that I asked him if I can use his work, just because it's really clear. And the picture color is also great. It looks pretty accurate, like true to life. It's not overly saturated. And if that's something that you want to go with, by all means, do that. If you want to oversaturate your pictures, that's entirely up to you. It's not something that I really particularly like looking at. I feel like it's really overwhelming for my eyes when a photo is too saturated. I feel like it's too busy, or I don't know how to say that, but that's just something to keep in mind when you're photographing your artwork. Don't do too many things to it. I mean, I don't do too many things to my work. I photograph it and then I alter things like the light a little bit if the lighting is off, or if there's like a glare, I'll edit it or Sometimes I only have to crop it. I don't have to edit the color at all. It really depends on what type of stuff that you do. That's just me personally. I don't like doing a lot of editing in my pictures. I'm kind of like my mom in that sense because she's a photographer and she is very, very meticulous about the settings in her camera so that when she goes to look at her pictures later, there's minimal editing, if any at all. Most of the time, all she has to do is either crop pictures or yeah, that's about it. Most of the time she just has to crop them. She hardly ever has to do any type of color correction or lighting or exposure, ISO, or any of that. I feel like I learned that part from her because after she told me that she doesn't like editing too much, I was like, maybe I have to try a little bit harder and photograph my work a little bit better. I won't have to do as many things to it later. So it'll look a little bit more neat once it's on my my feed and people can clearly see what's going on. It doesn't look very messy. So what Pete wrote, I'm going to read the rest of what he wrote. He said, "It's yours and no one else should really come near it, for it takes away your income. Like a leprechaun guards a pot of gold, so you too should guard your niche. For its customers and client base are your lifeblood. So competition needs to be kept at bay, and you must stay active and affirm why your art style matters." And a niche is like kind of telling people why your art matters, why you're unique, why it like relates to you personally. Know you'll run into difficulties establishing a niche, like how your artwork can be utilized. If you keep this in mind, you'll go far. If you don't, you'll see a lot of what was made was wasted, and so was your time. So create with an objective in mind and a goal to get that target audience in your niche. Do what you can to get a customer base. Keep them happy. Don't mind too much about following because they will come and go. That I have definitely experienced. Okay, let me just continue reading. If you can have one customer, hope they come back again to be a client. Do your best to make them a comeback patron again and again, supporting your work as you develop your craft and abilities as an artist. However, with the reminder that is a blessing to have it supported by people who believe in your work, the service you provide, and ultimately you. It's great to have people believe in your work and they will become longtime fans, especially if you've already done artwork for them and they really love it. I've had people that have just told me repeatedly, "Thank you again for doing this artwork for me." It definitely is a blessing to have people support your art. Last year I was so shocked by the amount of money that I made that people were willing to pay that much for my art. It was very surprising to me. I was in shock. I think I cried. I'm pretty sure I cried because I was just like, somebody's actually willing to pay for my work. I had to pretty much erase a lot of the things on my account, and I had to present myself as a realistic artist. It's very hard for people to sift through all the work and uploads when everything's really spaced out and needs to be a little bit more cohesive and have high quality pictures, but I can definitely make another video on this. We are out of time today. I will make another one if you guys want me to. Leave it in the comments. I can make this like a series of episodes so I can give you some chunks of advice in each episode and go a little bit more in depth about what I mean. If it helps you, let me know if this is helpful to you, because I don't know how it works for everybody. I can just tell you how it works for me and for a few other people that I've seen. If you really, really like this video, give it a like and leave a comment below on other ideas I should do for these episodes. I really want to hear your thoughts on that so we can have a discussion down in the comment section. You can follow me at jasminebaker.artist. You can follow Pete at MrBB3K. So those are some things. I wasn't trying to like overwhelm you guys. Hopefully I didn't. I hope I didn't confuse you, but I just wanted to point out some consistencies, some things that I noticed and things that I've learned, or just things that I've experienced over the years with posting artwork online, because there is definitely a method to it. You can't just always wing it. It doesn't work for everybody that way. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and stay tuned for another additional minute or so for a special treat. Bye!
watch out, things will get brighter. Then bring it down hard. Someday.
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro.